Good morning. Welcome to TV Toastmasters Club 9523. We have a great meeting for you today. We have 3 speakers, so I won't take any more of your time and introduce our Toastmaster for today, Kormelink. Carol.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome our members and our most honored guest, Brenda Murphy. Brenda was a member of the Winton Hills Procter & Gamble Club, which has disbanded, and she was searching for a new club, and we're it. So let us welcome Brenda Murphy. And at the end of the meeting, we probably will ask you to come up and tell us what you thought about the meeting. And Dawn, that's another prospect for your Tabletopics. To get started, so let us welcome Sheila Mudd Baker with our word of the day to increase our vocabulary.
The word is truth, Truth, the opposite of false. It is not necessarily something that one can put a finger on. Truth is that which is and cannot be disputed. Absolute truth. And in life, it's hard to find absolute truth in anything. Madam Toastmaster?
Thank you for that great. Our first speaker today is Michelle Hennekes. She is a new member and giving her icebreaker speech that tells us a little bit, helps her get introduced to public speaking and tells us a little bit about herself. And the title of her speech, her evaluator will be Rick Davis, who will be giving her evaluation later, and her title is Runners High. Michelle Hennekes, Runners High.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guest, we all have something that we're naturally good at, something that comes rather easy to us, maybe not so easy to others, and something that others kind of question why we love to do. For me, this is running. I started running at the age of 15 months. My mother will tell you I went from walking to running, and in that first summer that I began to run, I ended up in the emergency room 3 times. Stitches in my chin, in my brow, and my forehead. So needless to say, I wasn't quite very good yet. I can say my official running career started at the age of 10, and for the next 18 years, I didn't stop. I wasn't quite Forrest Gump, but I wasn't far off. I started to run at the grade school level. I worked my way into the high school level, and then I was fortunate enough to earn a scholarship to run at the University of Cincinnati, where I competed in track and field. And then when that was over, I didn't have enough, so I continued to run marathons. People ask me, why do you run? Is it to stay in shape? Is it to keep the weight off? What about the leg cramps, the blisters, the butterflies in your stomach when you step up to the starting line? What about the grueling workouts in extreme temperatures, in cold temperatures? What do you love about it? And I have to say I've experienced all of those, but it's the things that running have taught me that surpass any of that. It's the discipline, it's the focus, it's the commitment. I've gained so many memories over the years. Memories of victory, memories of defeat, memories of pain, and even some pretty comical memories, like the time I was running, about 6-mile run, feeling really good. It's a beautiful day. I got a great pace going. I look over to my running partner, kind of tilt my head back to say something to her, and right then and there, I got a bird-dropping facial from here to here. At that point in time, it wasn't very funny, but I look back at it today and I can laugh about it. So I think Steve Prefontaine said it the best. You have to wonder at times what you're doing out there. Over the years, I have given myself 1,000 reasons to keep running. I've always come back to the same thing where it started. It comes down to self-satisfaction and a sense of achievement. I'm saddened to say that I've hung up my running shoes. It's been several years, but 2 extensive knee surgeries and a little doctorly advice have caused me to do so. But regardless of whether I ever put another mile on my running shoes, I will always be a runner at heart. So I'm going to leave you with an important quote to me. Every day in Africa, a gazelle wakes up, and he knows he must outrun the fastest lion or he will be killed. And every day in Africa, a lion wakes up, and he knows he must outrun the slowest gazelle or he will starve. So it doesn't matter whether you're a lion or you're a gazelle. All that matters is when the sun comes up, you're running. Author unknown. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that great speech and the truth of discipline. I always said I had no discipline. I just learned a great quote. I have written it on Post-it notes and posted it in every mirror, and it says, self-discipline is merely remembering what you really want. I go, oh, wow, that is great. We have ballots and evaluation forms in front of us, and it's good to give the speaker a little note of encouragement that they want to get back again up here and give another speech. And we will have 1 moment of silence so the evaluator will be right back after the evaluator has time to do the evaluation.
Thank you very much. And now for our next speaker, Stanley Glitchner.
Speaking in public doesn't have to be a death sentence. At Toastmasters, we can help you overcome your fears.
We will go to our second speaker now. Mary Arms will be speaking from the Competent Communication, the first manual, and she is on speech number 7, which is to research your topic. And she has researched road trip. Mary Arms, road trip.
Good morning, everyone. Now, it's about a road trip. How many of you enjoy going on a road trip? Do you prefer going north, east, west, or south? Well, my family and I do go every year when permitted, and we go to the state of Arkansas, just to my daughter's house. Do not get me wrong. To me, this is a trip from hell. Now, let me change this. It is double hell. First, you leave Cincinnati. You cross into Indiana, then off to Illinois and to Missouri. Then you cross the Mississippi River, and then you travel through the state of Missouri, and then to the corner of Oklahoma, and then you enter the state of Arkansas. Now, that's just the start of it. Now, when you get to the state of Indiana, as I explained earlier, you're mostly on freeways and interstates. As you cross into Illinois, you'll come across a large cross, which is said to be the largest cross in North America. It is in Effingham, Illinois. Then when you get to Missouri, just before you get to St. Louis, you cross the Mississippi River and you'll see a large arch. It is said to be the archway to the west, or if you're traveling the other way, it's the archway to the east, or you can take it any way you want. And as you go further into the state, you will start seeing billboards saying, "Welcome to the Merrimack Caverns." This is where Jesse James and his gang hid from the law. But as you travel down the road, you will keep seeing signs saying, just 35 miles to the Merrimack Caverns, then 25 miles and 15 miles to the famous caverns. And then you will finally see a sign saying, you just missed the Merrimack Caverns. Now, you will also see signs for the Fantastic Caverns, but they're about the same as the Merrimack. but yet they are interesting and fun to read. As you travel down the road, you will come across signs for the town of Branson, Missouri. They say they are the home of country entertainment. As you pass Branson, you will travel down the road, and then you will cross the corner of Oklahoma and then into Arkansas. Now in Arkansas, there is a golf course that is on both sides of the road, and it's approximately 10 miles or more or less. And also in Arkansas, you will come upon one of the state's greatest wonder. Welcome to Walmart country. Now, there is always a store nearby, and if you miss one Walmart, you will always find another one just a few miles down the road, and I do mean a few miles down the road. And also, there are plenty of fast foods everywhere, so you will never starve. But as I said earlier about the trip from hell, as you enter the town that my daughter lives, you will get to a pizza parlor where you'll turn left. You will travel approximately 14 miles until you come upon a gas station on the left side of the road. You will turn right, go down a half-paved and gravel road. And if you miss the county road sign to get to our house, you will definitely get lost. But I suggest thoroughly that you travel during the daylight. When you finally go down the correct road, you will come to a road of gravel and large potholes. As you travel further down the road, you will come to a road of gravel and oil roads. And if you do miss that road, you're thoroughly lost, because you'll be ending up on dirt roads. Now, if you get lost, I hope that someone might help you. By the way, did I mention that my daughter lives in the Ozark Mountains? By the time you get there, you just want to go home. And when you do leave, I suggest again, leave during the daylight for the sake of your car. This is why it is a trip from hell. So the next time you decide to go on a road trip, take a plane. It's quicker and less of a hassle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. That's a weak welcome. That's a warm congratulations for that speech. And the truth is, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Too bad yours was not a good journey. We will be back in a minute.
I'd like to begin tonight with a little joke. This guy, he's a farmer, and he says, hey, hello? Sorry. But seriously, folks.
Speaking in public is no joke.
Doctor says, chicken says...
For help, call Toastmasters, the public speaking support group.
The chicken.
Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. Our third and final speaker today, Sheila Mudd-Baker, will be speaking from speech number 7 in the Competent Communicator Manual. It is, sorry. I'm reading the wrong speaker. Speech number 4 from the Competent Communication on how to say it. And she says, what's the big deal? Sheila Mudd-Baker, what's the big deal?
If you have a job, or even if you don't have a job, you go nearly anywhere, there's someone who's upset about something. It might be your mother. It might be your best friend. It might be a coworker. It might be someone who has nothing else to do but worry. What's the big deal? Why is it that no matter where we go, people want to worry, usually about things they can't do anything about or that don't exist? They aren't the truth. I mean, I can worry all I want about world peace. The chances of that happening in my lifetime, 0. We've never had world peace yet. We will not have world peace in my lifetime. However, I can worry about it being peaceful on my block. I can worry about peaceful in my town. I can worry about peaceful in my state or my country, but I can't make world peace. I can worry and worry and worry about it. I can't make it. I'm not the Secretary of State. I'm not the Empress of the Universe, though I used to worry about that when I was 10. Why wasn't I the Empress of the Universe? Worry. We are constantly worried. As human beings, we think, if I could just make $10 more per paycheck, that would make the difference on whether or not I pay the electric bill on time. Or if someone would just listen to me, this company would do really well. Or if my sister could just cook a meal for me once a week, I could save so much money. We worry about things that, like, what? Why would anybody listen to us when they like to listen to themselves? Why would my sister want to cook for me? She wants me to cook for her. And I know I can't change my mom. So we have all of these things that we worry about. I will give you an example. This week, I went to a local cafe and had coffee with a friend I hadn't seen for several years. And he went on and on for 2.5 hours about the proposed value-added tax, which is like the European tax, where each step of the way things get money added on. And a tax is added on until you have a final cost for goods. It's an expensive thing, but it kind of keeps things paid for in Europe. And so I said, so where are we in terms of that if we're going to have a value-added tax? Because I hate to waste my time and worry on things that might not happen. So, oh, it's going to happen any second. Nancy Pelosi is going to make sure that happens. Well, this morning I heard that the value-added tax has been killed because no one in their right mind at this time in our economic life is going to add a big tax on to people when we have about 10% unemployment. Most people are already nervous enough without that. So I am so glad I didn't waste my time worrying about something that didn't happen. And it's another thing that we worry about is health care, health insurance. Until I finally get down to seeing a step-by-step in the new health care system, I'm not going to worry about it because so far I haven't figured out what the heck's going on, so I don't know if it's going to affect me or anybody else. I'm going to read it, and once I figure out what that means, I may discover that it doesn't affect me at all, or it may. All I know is there is one. That's enough. Another thing we worry about is whether or not other people like what we're doing. I worry about that all the time. I mean, I've worried about it all of my life, probably less now than I used to. But one of the reasons why I worried, I was afraid that if people didn't like what I was doing, they'd stop me, or I was doing the wrong thing, or I was bad. That gets down to a very important question. Is it true? Is it true that if I do something that, let's say, Christine doesn't like, or Carol doesn't like, or Don doesn't like, that my world is going to end tomorrow? Probably not. Now, it may be that they're going to stop me from doing a specific thing, but is that absolutely true? Probably not. They may say, it doesn't make any difference. Let's go. Who cares? I'm not going to waste my energy on this. It's not important enough to me to care about it. I might not personally like it, but she can do it. Who cares? Each one of us worries about things that really, it makes no difference. The real question in life is, what am I worrying about, and is it true? I worry that someday I'll run out of money before I die. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe I'll die next week, so I've wasted a lot of time and trouble. Or maybe I'm going to be rich. Maybe I'll actually buy a lottery ticket and win. Then I don't have to worry about it. Or maybe my investments in my retirement will get better. We'll see. The real question is, what am I worrying about, and is it true? And can I prove that it's absolutely true? If I can't prove it's absolutely true, perhaps I should be spending my energy on something else. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sheila, for a great speech. And the truth is that if all think alike, none think too much. And if you and I think exactly alike, one of us is unnecessary. So it's good if people don't like what you're doing, because you learn new things when you listen and learn from them.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
Welcome back. We come to the fun part of the meeting, the impromptu session, where you learn to think, you listen intently, think quickly, and then answer effectively to a question not of your choice. Our table topics master for today is Don Wess, and Don Wess will be asking people in the audience questions. He'll give the question first and then ask the person to come and answer it. Let us welcome Don Wess, our table topics master.
Thank you, Carol. One good thing, there are many good things about table topics, but one good thing is that you don't have to spend a long time preparing for what you're going to say. There are 7 days in a week. We got Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and Sunday. Brenda Murphy is a new member, her first time here, in fact. And I would ask her to come up and tell us what is your favorite day of the week, and tell us something about that day. Brenda?
Thank you, Don. Fellow Toastmasters, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak for the first time at your Toastmaster meeting and talk about my favorite day of the week, which has to be Saturday. That is a day that is off my normal schedule, and it's a day that I can do things that I wait all week. I have this list, Post-it notes that I have various places all over the house. Do this on Saturday, do that on Saturday. And I'm a person who likes to check things off, so I love being able to take those Post-it notes down on Saturday. I've done this, I've done that. And it's also a day that I have an opportunity to spend some time with my nephew. I don't have children. I have a 13-year-old nephew that, believe it or not, he still loves to hang out with Aunt Brenda, because we always have some type of an outing, whether we go to Joseph Beth and go have hot chocolate and a pastry of some sort and look at books, or we go to maybe go down to the museum center for a little while, take in one of the exhibits. So Saturday is just my favorite day to be able to get things done at home and to be able to spend time with my dear nephew. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. There are 12 months in a year: December, November, October, September, August, July, June, May, April, March, February, and January. Darren Henderson, could you please tell us your favorite month of the year and tell us a little bit about it? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletopics Master, fellow Toastmasters. I'm just glad you didn't ask me to count backwards or do something else, Don. But this is an easy question for me. My favorite month of the year is December for many reasons. The weather isn't the best, of course. That's one thing going against December, but that's about the only thing that goes against December. In every other way, it's by far the best month of the year. Let's start out with the fact that I was born in December, so I've got a birthday in the middle of the month, which makes it, of course, a great month for me. But primarily, the great thing about December is Christmas. And it's not, and Christmas is on the 25th, of course, but the Christmas season really encompasses the entire month of December. December is one big holiday when you think about it, because by the time Thanksgiving's over, you start with all the Christmas preparations, and I'm a person who loves Christmas. You know, this is very strange for a man, but I love Christmas shopping. I love to wrap Christmas gifts. I just get into the whole thing. I put up the Christmas tree. I mean, my wife just kind of sits back and just waits for Christmas to happen, because I'll do it all. And I just love the month, and particularly with the 3-year-old now, Christmas is even better. And when I was 20 years old, I loved Christmas, so you can imagine how it is when you have a kid at home. It makes it even that much more special. But this is an easy question. I love Christmas. I think December is the greatest month in the calendar year. I do love the weather of the spring, so if Christmas could occur in July, it would just be perfect. But that said, Christmas or December is still by far the best month. And matter of fact, I'm looking forward to it now that you mentioned it, Don. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. We've all had many events that have occurred in our lives through the course of our life, and some of them are emotional, whether it be happy or sad or whatever. Paul Wessels, can you tell us about an event that occurred in your life that had some emotion attached to it? Paul?
Thank you. Yeah. First of all, I'm a real linear person, so you don't want to run a camera, do an evaluation, and do one of these things at the same time. So, emotion. You know, you always go back to the birth of your kids, so you really think I have two. So the first one was pretty cool. You get these birthing rooms or whatever, and me and my mom are holding my wife's legs as she's doing the final thing there. So that's pretty emotional and kind of funny. I always talk to my mom about, you know, well, whatever. So that's the first one. Second one, a little more serious. Had a premature child, so that's kind of traumatic too. You know, everybody's serious. The first one, everybody's kind of jovial, and you're in there. Everybody's kind of having fun, and it's all going, and you know. But when there's a problem, everybody gets serious. No camera. You know, we had the video going on the first one and all that, but the second one was a little different. Video wasn't going on. Doctors were real serious. It's a whole different ball game. So premature, and then you're just in shock. You don't know what to do. I didn't even know where to go. They took the child away. It wasn't breathing and all that intensive care. I'm wandering around Cincinnati trying to find out where to go to find my child. So, you know, you've got two different versions of things. One, happy and joyful. The other happy and joyful, but concerned. So there's big time ranges. That's the first thing that came to my mind, birth of children. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. So that concludes our table topics for today. I turn the meeting back to Carol.
What future do you envision for yourself? What dreams do you have? If you want your dreams to come true, you must have confidence in yourself and your abilities. A Toastmasters Club can help you build that confidence. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters shows you how to express yourself clearly and effectively. Make your dreams a reality. Join a Toastmasters Club.
I now will turn control of the meeting to our general evaluator, who will introduce the evaluators to give the evaluations of each speaker. Our general evaluator today is Mike Davis.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The role of the general evaluator is to give a feeling for the meeting as a whole, and also to help each evaluator understand where they did well and also where they can improve. So our first evaluator today for our first speaker is Here's the problem with general evaluator, you take too many notes. And if you're a non-linear person like myself, our first speaker was Michelle. Her evaluator is Rick Davis. Rick, if you could please come to the front and give Michelle some feedback.
Thank you, Mike. As an experienced Toastmaster, there are two speeches that you really like to evaluate. The icebreaker, because you get to know the person really well, and speech 10, which is sort of the opportunity for them to fly and really inspire people. So I really enjoyed your icebreaker speech. We really did get to know you. You're very confident up here. There were no nerves. It looked like you were well rehearsed. You'd really taken an opportunity to prepare for the speech. You told us about your running career and about starting at age 15 months and continuing on from there. You had some funny parts to it, the stitches that you had, the facial that you had, these sorts of things. So those were always really great. You were very good about your notes. I didn't see you using your notes except when you had to do your quotes, and I think that that's a good idea for you to always, if you're going to quote verbatim, you should have it written down so that you can look at it. I think for an icebreaker, if you'd come to me and ask me beforehand about this topic as an icebreaker, I would tell you to maybe broaden it out a little bit more so that the club could get to know you as a person and sort of your life just today, you know, what motivates you. But you did tell us about what you got out of running, your discipline, your memories, and your humor. And I really enjoyed hearing about you today, and I really look forward to future speeches. So thank you, Michelle. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Rick. Our second speaker was Mary Arms, and her evaluator was Mr. Linear, Paul Wessels.
Thank you. Got to get my word of the day in here, truth. So the truth is I'm going to do an evaluation here. Mary, one of my favorite members of the group. I always like Mary, very genuine, and I'm glad this is the first speech I've seen of you because I'm relatively new and very impressed. The goal of the speech was research your topic. So in that, it says use numerous sources, give support, facts, examples, and illustrations. I thought you did it really well. I like the title. It was perfect. Road Trip, perfect title. Interest, supporting it. I think it was very interesting to all of us. It's something we can relate to. We all go on vacations. We all spend a lot of time in the car. We all have stories. Me in particular, I've been to Branson, and I can't remember the name of the Walmart city, but been over there to Walmart and all that. So I can personally relate to that same type of trip in the same direction and just what you were going through there. Very humorous. Again, we all go on these trips and you see the mileage. The one thing that sticks out is the 35 miles, 25 miles, 15 miles, and then you've missed the thing. You know, you're going on a trip, so we can all relate to this sort of thing. So it was a very good speech that I personally could relate to. So I like that. It flowed well because you're going on a trip, and so you know I could follow along. So it was, to me, it was very organized. The only thing I can say to improve a little bit, I'm not a big note person, so when you read a little bit, but very good. You did a lot, more reading than I would have, but that's the only thing I could relate to, maybe to improve a little bit. So in general, I thought it was a good speech. I'm glad it was the first. It was, for me, it was one of the first ones, or the first one I heard from you. So I was very impressed, and I liked it a lot. So thank you very much for that.
Our third speaker today was Sheila Mudd-Baker. Her evaluator was Christine, I'm drawing a blank, Sullivan. Yeah, I turned 47 last week, and clearly middle age has gripped my mind. So Christine Sullivan, please come up and give us an evaluation for Sheila.
Hello. I was evaluating Sheila, and her speech was number 4, How to Say It, and her title was What's the Big Deal? Some of the elements that I'm looking for in the speech are saying it correctly, watching out for jargon in the speech, using vivid words, and being very specific. Sheila's speech, I thought, was a very interesting title. It had a very broad topic of what's the deal. She used this title very early on in her speech to kind of set the tone, and I thought that was a very good idea. She also would use rhetorical questions throughout her speech, one of which is her title. Also, what she can worry about, what's the big deal, is there truth? Those kind of things, I think, became a theme throughout the entire speech. One of the things I liked about it is that there was a lot of vocal variety. She was very expressive in her tone. That was also paired with some visuals as well. She also had a nice use of rhythm, I think, throughout her entire speech. One of the things that I think is just an observation, not necessarily a criticism, is that because the topic is so broad of what's the big deal, there's a lot of opportunity to switch from various topic to another topic to another topic. For instance, she went into the story about the value-added tax and then switched into what is it that she worries about, which is other people liking what she's doing, which was in some ways kind of a switch in stream of the topic. It still is in the heading of the title, however, I thought it was just an interesting transition. So I would just kind of maybe think about focusing it on one or two select things, and that way it keeps the speaker clearly focused on what it is you're trying to convey by the end of the speech. Otherwise, I thought it was very good. Thank you.
I'll start with my feedback to each of the evaluators, and then I'll go over the meeting as a whole. As far as Rick's evaluation of Michelle, Rick, I think you were dead on in that I thought Michelle showed a lot of confidence up here. Clearly, this is a subject you care a lot about. It's a big part of your life, or it was. And I sensed a little bit of regret that you can't do it anymore. So I thought that was very important that you pointed that out. Humor was great. You made one mention of humor. I always like to hear more examples, so it reinforces what the speaker's doing. When you made your comment about started running at 15 months, Forrest Gump, bird dropping facial, I thought that was a great line. Be a little more specific about here's what you did well, because that reinforces and encourages the speaker to keep doing those things. Our second evaluator was Paul. Paul, I liked what you had to say about Mary. You're very impressed with it. What you brought up was that, Mary, this was a well-researched topic. I felt like I was on that journey with you every step of the way, and I've been to some of those places. And probably Mary touched upon places each of us has been at some point in our lives, because that was a long trip. Your sources, you clearly researched it and you had sources. I personally don't have an issue with notes. I think in Toastmasters we give way too much emphasis to, well, Don, you use notes. What is the real purpose of a speech? Is it not to affect the audience? If we're worried about memorizing speeches, we're too worried about ourselves. So if you get up here and use notes, that's not a problem. With that said, I think you use them too much, because I didn't have a lot of eye contact with you. I didn't see you really looking at the audience. And I think you need to trust yourself a little bit more as far as maybe writing down one state. You'll remember what that is. So, Paul, I would have liked to have heard you say, use the notes, but not be totally dependent upon them. The other thing that I would have pointed out to Mary is you went very fast. You had a couple of great lines in there about, you just missed Merrimack. Let that sink in and let us laugh at that. Also, she asked a question, how many of you have traveled? And you didn't even wait for us to answer. So slow down, trust yourself. You're doing fine, okay? But point those things out, because the speed and pace enables the audience to get pulled into it. One of the things I would have pointed out too was a very you-focused speech. And that she was saying, you've been here, have you been there, if you do this. So I thought that was very effective. As far as Christine, your evaluation of Sheila, you brought up some great points. You mentioned that Sheila asked rhetorical questions, that her theme was woven throughout the speech, which is a good sign, a sign of a very good presentation. I like your concept of bring it down to one or two, because it could go all over the place. Two things that I would have pointed out to Sheila, and Sheila's an experienced speaker, and I've seen Sheila speak many times. You had a lot of eye dart up here. Eye dart means you looking here, looking there, looking there, looking. Michelle did the same thing. I'm going to jump back from it, but you're a brand new speaker. That's okay. I'd like to see you slow that down and make a point. By eye dart, I mean make a point, then move on to the next point instead of scanning the crowd. The second was, there was not a lot of you focus in this. I heard Sheila saying we and I a lot, but bring it to you. Challenge the audience. What do you worry about? Are you worried too much? So it brings us more in as an audience. So just point that out next time. Listen for that you focus. Otherwise, I thought these were effective evaluations today. To go over the meeting as a whole, and then I'll bring up our grammarian and our timer. Carol, you're always a good Toastmaster. I noticed something today, though. Your voice was dropping a lot. I think you're either tired from your trip or you just got up too early today. That's it. I knew something was going on because your voice kept dropping and you'd pick it back up. The other thing is, you know what you do well, so I'm going to focus more on a couple things I think you can improve on. You have a crutch word, and that is great. We do this a lot in Toastmasters. Every speech in here is not a great speech. There are effective speeches, there are good, there are impactful, but I challenge each of you to look at yourself and say, am I using a crutch word like great? When you held up the form about the health program, that's probably kind of hard to read on TV. Maybe have the phone number and give it out, or an email address too. A very effective job of introducing table topics. Too many times in Toastmasters meetings, I've heard people say, here's table topics, and if somebody's newer, they don't have any idea, or somebody watching for the first time on TV, they really don't know what table topics is, so that was a very effective setup. Speaking of table topics, I think we learned a few things about people today. We learned something about Don. Don's a very dry sense of humor, and backwards think, too, likes Don. Brenda, I thought we learned something about you as a new member to our group with your answer. You like to get tasks done, and you love your nephew. That's what I like. That's great about tabletop, is you learn something about each of our members. Darren, you're an anti-male, is what I picked up. I understand that, by the way. I'm the same way with cars. And you love Christmas, and that was great to get to know that about you. And now we all need to buy him something because we know when his birthday is. And Paul, yours was my favorite. What is your wife's name? Jenny. I have a sense that if Jenny sees this program, she's going to come to you and say, do you realize that these are cameras, and now the world knows that my mother and you were holding my legs during the birth of our first child? Okay. Funny response, though. So overall, I thought we had very effective presentations today. We got to know a lot about each of our speakers. So if I could please bring up Jerome to give us our Grammarian of the Day report.
I came in late, so I'm not sure that I know what the word of the day is, but I believe, based upon what I heard Sheila say, truth. Truth. So the truth of the matter is as follows as regards your use of ahs. I listened to see if there were many grammatical errors, and the truth of the matter is that I did not hear any that I would call to your attention. What I did hear is Don Wess, serving as Tabletopic Master, use one R. And I think what is happening is that people are trying to move from one place in their commentary to another place in their commentary, and they need something to transition with, so they use R. Sheila Mudd Baker, you are the consummate speech maker. I heard no ahs, and no grammatical errors. Rick Davis, 4 ahs. Brenda, Saturday is my favorite day, 2 ahs. Darren, December is my favorite month of the year, no ahs and no grammatical errors. December must be good for you. Paul, the birth of my children, 16 ahs. And your evaluation, 20 ahs. Total, 36 ahs. And I stopped counting. The truth of the matter is that you are the ah recipient award of the day. Christine, I counted 5 ahs for you. And Mr. General Evaluator, 1 ah for you. That concludes the grammarian report of ahs.
Thank you, Jerome. For our timer's report, please help me welcome Gordon Kelly.
Part of my duties will be to assist the speakers that are speaking as far as the time frame that they need to maintain during their speech. The Tabletopics master, Sheila Mudd Baker, actually was allowed. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, the word of the day. I'm sorry. In fact, that's what I was going to get to was to begin was the truth of the thing. On the word of the day, Sheila Mudd Baker spent 40 seconds, which I'm sure we're allowed more than that. On the Tabletopics timing, we had 3 participants. Brenda Murphy spent 1 minute and 19 seconds, a little short. Actually, everything seemed to be short today for some reason. I'm not sure if it was me hitting the button or if it was everybody talking. Darren Henderson spent 1 minute and 25 seconds. Paul Wessels, 1 minute and 41 seconds. On our scheduled speeches, Michelle Hennekes spent 3 minutes and 46 seconds. She just missed the minimum, I believe, was 4 to 6 minutes on your speech. Mary Arms had a speech for 5 to 7 minutes. You went 5 minutes and 1 second. Sheila Mudd Baker, your speech was for 5 to 7 minutes, and you hit 6 minutes and 21 seconds. As far as the evaluations and Mike Davis's evaluators, Rick Davis had 1 minute and 40 seconds. Paul Wessels had 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Christine Sullivan was at 2 minutes and 37 seconds. On the grammarian of the day, Jerome Manigan spent 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Even though we really don't time that, I don't think there's a time frame for that. We don't have in there. The evaluator spent quite a bit of time. Mike Davis spent 6 minutes and 2 seconds, plus additional time for his evaluations. Thank you.
Overall, I think we learned a lot about our fellow members today. I thought the meeting flowed very well, and I'll turn it back over to the control of our Toastmaster, Carol Kormelink.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for pointing out my use of great. I am aware of that, and sometimes when I'm typing it and I see that I've done it 5 or 6 times, I will bring up the synonyms. So what I think I'm going to do is to bring up all the synonyms and put them on a card, and every time I want to say great, like, Gordon, your report was timely. Your speech was a high, runner's high. It will take some doing, but thank you for pointing it out. I loved the meeting today. If you did, let's hear it. I will now return control of our meeting to our president, Rick Davis, and founder of TV Toastmasters.
Great job, Carol. I'd like to invite Brenda up and give us some feedback, what she saw at the meeting and what she liked and maybe what we could do better. Brenda.
you. And fellow Toastmasters, again, what a privilege to be able to speak twice in one meeting. And my reaction as far as feedback and what I liked about the meeting, I feel like I've come back home again. I spent quite a few years at the Winton Hill Toastmasters and actually forgot about the great feedback, the immediate feedback that you get from your speaking, and which is so helpful, which is why we're all here, is to communicate better. So it has just brought back all those great memories and all the years that I had spent with Winton Hill Toastmasters. I really like the camaraderie that comes with being part of a Toastmaster group, and that is very evident here. And the gentleness, yet firmness for the feedback to help and encourage the communication skills was also very evident here. And there is a very nice range of skill sets, it appears, as well. And so to help those who are kind of not quite have been in Toastmasters so long, and then it's very evident that there has been Toastmasters here have been here quite a while. So it is that is, I think, such a plus that you have kind of the range of skills, because you get that fresh feedback as well as the expert feedback as well. So I really appreciate you letting me come and be part of the meeting, and I look forward to future meetings as well. Thank you.
We look forward to you participating in future meetings also. With that, I would like to end the meeting. We have a little bit of business we need to conduct off the air, and TV Toastmasters 9523 will close for today.
This is Rusty Ferdon with TV Toastmasters. We're a proud sponsor here on ACT TV and Anderson Community Television. We're the Miter Box. We're in Silverton. We've been doing picture framing for 32 years. We do conservation framing, we have conservation glass, and we have a large variety of frames. We're proud to be a sponsor of this ACT TV, and
business networking events have just got better. MAP, Market and Profit, unique luncheon and breakfast networking format, the business building team. Who do you want to get to know? Business owners, designers, investors, CEOs? Build your business at the next MAP networking event at 5 Seasons. No membership fees. MAP is proud to be a sponsor of TV Toastmasters.
Marcus Jewelers, serving Anderson Township as its only family-owned and operated full-service jeweler for over 21 years. We specialize in fine-quality gold, silver, platinum, jewelry, and gemstones. We can take something old and make it new again, including watches. We also buy gold and silver, including flatware. We also specialize in coins and bullion. We can appraise all of your jewelry so you know its true value. When it comes to matters of estate, we can determine what is real and what is costume. Lula's for lunch and more. Owner and chef Lori Pierce has over 25 years' experience. She has worked with world-renowned chefs and has developed recipes for Fortune 500 companies. Lori will work with you personally to create a unique menu. So whether a romantic dinner for two or a large corporate luncheon, remember, Lula's, where love is always the first ingredient. Dr. Jack Hendricks of Clearly Chiropractic. Dr. Hendricks is a graduate of Logan College of Chiropractic in St. Louis, Missouri. His #1 goal is to educate patients on how their body works and to release the cause of pain, stress, and anxiety in their lives. Dr. Hendricks himself was helped by this unique, holistic approach when he was 19 and has been practicing in the heart of Anderson Township for 13 years.